Hello guys and girls. In this tutorial, we're going to be working on three technical practical questions together in Python for the courses we have covered. And these are the three questions. So I would just really appreciate it if you go through most of my videos in my series because I've gone through many of the things you need to know, finding duplicate words, functions, and many other things. So it will help you in solving these three practical questions. It's kind of confusing, but it sends the points across. So this is the first question. I think is the most complex. This one is cool, but simply it's easy to me. I don't know. Yeah. So this third one, it's actually complex, but it needs a very good problem solving skills on it. So these are the three questions. So you can just solve it yourself. But in this tutorial, I'm going to be covering the three questions with you guys. But firstly, I just hope you solve it yourself. Then if you're stuck anywhere, you can come back to the video and watch the way I used to derive the solution. But just try. Okay. So if you have not come across my video before, don't be afraid to subscribe. Guys, I post new videos every week on new topics on web development, data science, machine learning, and many other programming languages as well. So, and that's what we have today, our last mini project for all the things we covered in Python, from introduction, basic syntax, and many other things we covered. Now we're going to be testing our knowledge and our ability for our good ability in problem solving and stuff in Python before we move into the advanced stuff. Okay, let's get started. So what's how we're going to do it is I'll just quickly write a comment for this, and it would be, I think, no, oh, yeah, like this. So I'll put it like this. I think this one would be cool. So if I go to my notepad, I'll just pick. We'll start with the first question. So I just hope you guys have solved it and find the solution, and so you can see it. I make sure I break everything step by step when solving mine as well. So it's a very cool and easy way to solve it. So I'm going to read the question firstly before we start going into it. So if I copy the question one, so won't be confused. I will go to my PyCharm and put it there so we can see the questions together. So the first question is, write a function that takes a single list argument consisting of words. The function should return a new list containing only words that appear exactly twice in the original list, contain at least one vowel, are at least 5 characters long. So if you read this question like this, what it means is that if if the function has to take in a list, and then you filter out the words or the elements that appear twice in the original list, contains at least one vowel. So like in that, after fetching out the ones that appear twice, it then contains at least one vowel and at least 5 character long. So I gave people an example input. Like now, if the user input something like apple, banana, links, apple, grape, grape, links, kiwi, kiwi, mango, melon, and melon. So if it's processed, what it's supposed to do, what we are trying to achieve is, so the count occurrence, you can see apple appeared twice, one, two, one to this side here, and banana once, grape twice, lynx twice, kiwi twice, mango once, and melon twice as well. So what it now did is, firstly, keep only words appearing exactly twice. So it keeps only apple twice, grape twice, lynx, kiwi, and melon. Then it now ensures words that contain at least one vowels. So we have apple contains one vowel because of A, E, grape, A, yeah, so kiwi and melon. So you see, it's just removed links. So links, they don't meet to the next stage. The next one, the last one we did was ensure that the words are at least 5 character longs. So now it now removed kiwi because kiwi is 4, and it gave apple, grape, and melon. So that's what we are going to try to code with Python. It helps test our problem solving skills, and I hope we do it together. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is, they say we should write the function. So the function, because Python is a uh, dynamic, no, yeah, I think it's a yeah, it's dynamic. I think, yeah, Python is dynamic. So you don't need to like specify the what it should collect. Like you don't need to specify the data type. It just gives it what you pass to it, like, so I'll explain it when I'm going. So firstly, they say you should write a function. To write a function in Python, make sure you have checked out my function video, guys, so this won't be complicated. And also my finding duplicate word videos, it's also useful. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll call the function pick words, because I like making my function name descriptive. Pick words exactly twice. Let's just call it this one. Okay, so we now give no yeah have so that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pattern an argument, and it would be like word list. So what the argument is going to be carrying is like a list of words, so that is it. So it's going to be carrying a list of words. Next thing we're going to be doing is then I'm going to write like a result. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to give like an empty list. We are going to create an empty list. So the empty list is to use to hold the final words. It's a list to hold the final word, because we need an empty list. So all the whole filtered words that we filtered out to meet the requirements would go into the empty list. So if I say words result words, I will call it result words equals to an empty list. Don't mind the yellow line, is because mostly Python needs underscore for their naming convention. Like now, if I put underscore W here, the yellow line disappears, because that's how Python uses it. But I like using camel casing for all my naming conventions, so don't worry about the yellow warning line. So it's mostly PyCharm that does that. Right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to use a for loop for it. So this one, we're going to be using a nested for loop. So make sure you watch my loop videos as well, where I talk more things about a nested for loops. The first thing we're going to see is loop through each word by the index. So we'll go for like for I in range length of word list. Don't worry, as I give the solution, I'll explain why it's done that way. So for I in range length of word list, so what it means is it's a range using the length of this word list. So any list you put through it, it will iterate through the whole elements in the list. Firstly, that's the first thing we're going to do, so we can see all the elements in the list. Then the next thing we're going to do is we'll say current word. We'll call this thing a current word. Like what it means is, okay, don't worry, I'll explain when I'm going. Current word equals to words list at index of I. So as I is iterating through the word list, so any word, like let's say we have, like here in the example, we have apple, we have banana, we have links, we have apple, grape, links, and all those things. So when it's iterating through the word list, this I changes, because word list at index of 0 is apple, at index of banana is at index of 1 is banana, and so on. So it's going like that. So that is how we used I to replace the number. So current word is equals to word list at index of I. So the next thing we're going to do is count how many times the current word appear using like a nested loop. So how many times did the current word appear? What we're going to do next is, let's call it count times is equals 0, like this. Okay, so count times is equals to 0. So the next thing is we are going to leave it initially as 0, and there is a mistake here. It needs to be under my for loop, so I'll put it here. So I'll now say count times is equals 0. So that's it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to use a nested loop for another thing. You see what I mean? So the next thing we're going to be doing is for J, we're going to call this one J in range length of words list, and stuff like that. So if I hit this one, what should be inside? So if words list at index of J, so we're going to use another nested loop, is now equals, so what we are using this one for is for looking for duplicate words first, because it said that we're going to look for words that appear exactly twice in the original list. So we have looked through the whole list. Now we're looping through it again using a nested loop. So if the word list J, we are going to use this one J is equals the current word like this. So you say, so if it's equals to the current word, so you can see like something like this. So I'll now put count times is equals count times plus 1. So this thing, what it means is that count times, now since our count time was initially 0, so after looping, any word that appear again when we loop the second time will increase the count time by 1. So we are going to save how many times it appears, okay, in the word list. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, so that one is just basically how you find for like your duplicate words and stuff like that. So the next one we're going to be doing is uh, we're going to look for vowels. Yeah, contains at least one vowels. This second one, since this first one, I just hope and I believe it solves the duplicate words like in my own way. I'm trying to keep it as beginner friendly as possible. So the next one we're going to do is contains at least one vowel. So for one vowel, we're going to like, let's go out of this loop for now. We'll work on it. But we are going to still be inside the I loop, the first loop like this. Wait, you understand what I mean like this? So let's just, oh, sorry, tab like this. The next one we're going to do is, we're going to call it variable. I'll call it has vowel is equals false. So initially, let us set it as false for has vowel. So let's check all the words. Let's check it out. So we now say vowels is equals this. So we are going to call all the vowels that we're going to be looking for. It will be A, E, I, O, U, and A, E, I, O, U. So we're going to be looking for like small letter vowels, capital letter vowels, and other things. And thank goodness that vowels are just 5, so it's easy for us. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, then we're going to use a for loop to iterate through the loop. But this one we're going to do like a loop for like a for loop for lists. Okay, you understand where I'm going. So for every letter in current word. So after looping through the index, so this current word, all you have to see it as is like the index of all the words. Like index of word list is the list. So word list, that's index of I can be 0, I can be 1, I can be 2, I can be 3. So index of 0 would be apple, 1 banana, and stuff like that. So for all the letters in the current word, so after it's finished bringing out the words, the current word, it will now check for every letters there. And then if the letters, let's use something else, then for all the letters in the current word, if letter in vowels, what it means is that if the letter is part of our vowels, like you understand what it means. For if letter is in our vowels, in these vowels we did, what we're going to do is, then we're going to change has vowel to equals true. And finally, we'll break out of the loop. I don't know why it slowed down my computer, but it still works. So break. Okay, so after it, we break out of the loop. And remember, don't mind the yellow lines. It's just my naming conventions that's the issue. So the next one we're going to do is, you see, it's pretty much coming clear. It's coming together, and it's just easy. But it's, you need to like test your brains and stuff like that. So the next thing we're going to be doing is like check the what's the thing? At least 5 character long. 5 character long. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to check the whole results. Remember that we have a count time, so we are going to check the count time and also the 5 character long. So by then the count time has finished incrementing and showing us the words that are like that. So the next thing we're going to do, still inside the loop, we are not going to go out of the loop yet. So still inside the loop, the for loop, this is our first for loop. Remember that Python works with indentation and not curly braces. So if the count times is equals to and has vowel, so this one is our final summary, because they say that if the count time is, if it appears 2 times in the original list, so we're using the count time to know the ones that appears 2 times. So if the count times is equals to and has vowel is equals true, but has vowel is already true, like even without defining it, you can still do if has vowel is equals true, but that would be like, writing lots of code. and all those things. So that's it. So you can just do like has vowels. Has vowels still do the same thing. And I'll say and len of current word. Let's say since they want what they want us to do is like current word. What's this? They said that at least 5 character long, so it has to be like 5 characters. So and len of character of current word. Remember what I said is the current word, the index, each words in our list. So is greater than or equals 5 like this. And then what we're going to do next is then if current word not in result word. Don't be confused. I'll explain what I mean. Then what I'm going to do is result words dot append. Append means add to the end. Okay, let me explain it as I go. So after counting all these things, after checking these, if count time equals 2 and has vowel and length of current is greater than or equals 5, then what we're going to do is if current word is not in result word, remember our result words we did earlier right here, this one, yeah, it's an empty list. So what it does is, so it checks, okay, the word is not yet inside our empty list, then it appends. So append means add to the end, add to the end of the list. So it appends the current word. So any current word that is not yet inside our empty list that we filtered, remember we have filtered most of the things. Then if it's not inside our empty list of current word, we'll just add the current word like this. Okay. Oh, so we are getting somewhere. So lastly, the last thing we're going to do is we have met all the requirements, right, guys? We have met all the requirements exactly twice, contains at least 1 vowel and at least 5 character long. So that's what we have done. We have met all the requirements. The last thing, you can guess what we'll do to complete this. We're going to return a list. So outside our for I loop, inside our function, we're going to now write return. So what we're going to return would be we're going to return this list right here. So I'll just copy it and I'll paste it right here. So this is what we're going to return. We're going to return this empty list, but by then they've already append the words that appear 2 times, the ones that have vowels, and the ones that the length of the words is greater than or equals 5 and adds to our result words. So it returns this. So okay, let's test it out. For the first one, let's test it out. I will now say sample. Let me just say sample words is equals, since we are returning something, we need to like put it into a variable. So I'll just copy this thing, this list that we already have. So we'll see if it gives us our final result. I would copy it, Control C, and come down here. I'll shift this a little bit and paste it. Okay, so this is the list. So this is called sample words list. So now let's call this one filtered words. Filtered words, so it meets our requirement, is equals, we'll now call our function. So what I'm going to do is, to make it more understandable, I'll copy the function and even the parameter, sorry, and even the argument, and then I will go right here and I'll paste it right here. So pick words exactly twice. So what we're going to do is, it's giving a red line because you don't have any idea what a word list is. So what we're going to do is replace this word list argument with the sample words parameter, this sample words that we gave in a list. So now Python says, oh, it's a list we are trying to pass in there. Okay, let's work on it. So now let's print out the filtered words. So I'll print out the filtered words and let's run it. So that's it. So now if you print it out, let's see what it gives us. It needs to filter it and meet all our requirements. Shift F10. Great, perfect. So that's it. So you see, it gives us apple, grape, and melon as well. So it works perfectly fine and great. So you can say that's the last thing. Ensure words are at least 5 character long, and see this is our output that we're supposed to get: apple, grape, and melon. So that's basically what we need to know for the first question. So you can see it's confusing a little bit, but if you work on it, like if you see how I worked on it and the step by step, don't mind the naming convention, that's just me. So you can see the step by step where I used to work on it. It's just simple, but the question look complex. You have to just like, it helps in your problem solving skills. Okay, so that's it for the first question, and I hope it was not that confusing, and I hope you got something similar to this when you were doing the solution yourself. All right, let's move to the next question. And for the next solution, we're going to be going for the question two. Hope you guys are happy and excited, because I am, because it's very good to test your understanding after learning new things. So this is just my way of showing appreciation to you guys. So the next thing we're going to do is the question two. And note, please, I'll be pasting my solution. I'm trying to say GitHub, but I have lots of things doing on my GitHub right now. So I might just put it in the description, or maybe make up my mind later on in this video to put it in my GitHub and send the link out. Okay, so for the question two, we have, I'll just copy the question two like this and go to the PyCharm. Yeah, so I'll just paste it in place of this question one, so we can see it and read it together and work on it together. There, like this. So I would just advise you to make sure you solve something before watching my own full tutorial. That way you're learning something new without just watching or maybe copying and pasting. And that is another reason that I don't like putting my codes up on GitHub or in my description, so you can like learn. Because the more, if you see code available, some people, you might just be stressed out and you feel like copying it and just pasting it. But if you want to learn, you can just type along, or solve it yourself firstly. That's it. But I'm certain I'm going to paste the questions in my description. That's certain for me, to be honest. So the next question would be using negative logic and a while loop. Okay, using negative logic. So what this means is that we are not going to be using any like just normal while loop. Negative logic, it means that we're going to be using while not something, while not. So, and a while loop, write code that asks the users for a word that contains exactly 6 characters, starts with T, ends with a consonant. Keep asking the user until they provide a valid word. All conditions must be within the parentheses of the while loop. Okay, so this one is just self-explanatory, and it sounds easy to me because I wrote this code, these questions, and like I've solved it lots of times, so it will be a very easy stuff for me. But I'll try to explain it as we go on. So now we're going to call a function, because I like using functions to work with. So firstly, the first solution, but make sure you solve it before watching my solution, please. So the first thing we're going to be doing is I'll call a function. I'll call it get valid. I don't know why my system just slows down. Valid word, like this. So it won't be taking in anything, just like this. So since we're not trying to work on a function, we're trying to work with a while loop, and it's not necessary to put it in a function, but I just like adding my code inside the function. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, so now they said negative loop asks for this, contains at least 6 characters, end with a consonant, keep asking the user for. So the next thing, what we're going to do now is ends with a consonant. So we are going to like bring out a consonant. Let's say we're going to the same way we did in the first tutorial about vowels, and we brought out the vowels. Now we're going to bring out the consonants as well. So I will say consonants. It will be long, but it still works the same way. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Okay. So I'll do B, C, D, F, G, H, J. So we are going to change it to upper when we are looking for the words H, J, K, L, M, N, skip O, P, Q, R, S, T, skip U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Yeah, I hope it's this all. Let me cross check again and I'll get back to the video. Okay, that's all for consonants. So we have firstly, we'll ask the user to enter a word, and we're going to tell the user the instructions. So I'll just call this one user word. Sorry, user word is equals input. So we're going to ask the user to enter a word. We're going to ask the user enter a word that is exactly 6 characters. I'll just call it chars. 6 characters, starts with T, and what else? Ends with a consonant. So ends with a consonant. Okay, so that's it. So that's what we're going to ask the user. So next one, I'm going to use a while loop. And you see the reason I said that this one is very easy to solve and it doesn't have like lots of solutions, just to understand the logic of while loop. So we are using negative logic. I'll also write a comment, a little bit of comment here, negative logic. So you guys will understand where I'm going to. So inside the while loop, what I'm going to do is while not. So this is what I call it negative logic, so you don't get confused. So while not len of the first thing they said, the user's word should contain exactly 6 characters. So while not len of user word is equals 6. So what it means, okay, now we'll find the len of user word is equals 6 and user word. Let's use, there's a function, a string function we're going to use with now, dot starts with. You can use many ways. There are many ways to solve this solution, bro. I need to make the video not too long and not too like short, but I'll try to explain it. So we're going to do starts with. So they say it should start with t, right? I'm going to use an input function. You can use index to find it though. Like you can use the index if the index at 0 of the string is equals t or something. But I'm going to use this starts with since we are specifically saying starts with t. So if it starts with, I'll give capital letter T. And what else? I would just say, what's the next thing they said? And sorry, and user word at index of -1. So if they say ends with a consonant, right? Ends with a consonant. So user's word, the end is always -1 in a list. In a word, the end sentence is always at index of -1. So user's word -1, we are going to change it to dot upper. The reason I'm going to change it to dot upper is so it can match well with our consonant. So I'll say dot upper. So some of you will be saying, why did I not change this start with T to dot upper or something? It's because our start with needs to be uppercase as well, like this. Starts with T. So dot upper, and what we're going to do next is in consonants. Consonants, like these are our consonants. So let me explain it again briefly. So user word, we are going to check if the len is equals 6. Remember, we're using a negative logic. That's why we're doing len user word equals 6. And user word does start with T. And user word at index of -1 dot upper is in consonants like this. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is then I'll click on enter and let's print something. In case the user did not meet the requirement, we're going to say invalid word because we're using a negative logic, remember. So invalid word. Let me just make the print. So what's this? Okay, I'll type it again. Invalid word. It must starts with. It must not start. Sorry, it must be 6 letters. Starts with T and end with a consonant like this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, remember, you have to prompt the user again, and that is the way we're going to try to break out from the while loop. So I'm going to copy this thing again, user word inputs like this, or you can just use anything, but make sure you prompt the user again, unless you're going to fall into an infinite loop. So then lastly, so that's just it. So if the user doesn't meet this, we are going to keep prompting them. So we're using negative logic, prompting the user until the end. Then if that's it, after it, we're going to like return user word. If he, you see, I went out of the why not since we are done with it. So we keep asking the user, and if the user meets the requirement, we now return this. We're going to return the valid word. So now let's try it. Let me call out the function because I like working with functions. So the first thing we're going to do, I'll just call it outside the function. You can say I went outside the function. I'll call it good word. So this one is the word that we have finished checking for the requirements. Is equals, you say this, I'll call the function get valid word. Since we're returning something, we need to save it into a variable. So we'll now be like get valid word, and that's the good word. Then we're going to now print something. We're going to print valid word entered like this, and I'll give no need to give space initially. Then I'll now say good word. Oh yeah, like this. All right, so that's it. I told you guys this one would be cool and easy. You see, it's very smooth and clean. Okay, so now let's run the program, and I hope it works perfectly. So I'll do Shift F10. Okay, now it prompts me to enter a word. Enter a word that's exactly 6 characters. So let me enter just rubbish word like this. We invalid word. It must be sorry, it must be 6 letters, starts with T and end with a consonant. So enter a word. Okay, they are still asking me for it as we did. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is how will I make this requirement? Let me just be entering rubbish words. Okay, you can see our while loop is working perfectly. So the first thing we're going to be doing is 6 characters. I'll say Charles and starts with T. Okay, and I'll say let me make it start with T. Let me make it start with T. Toby and end with a consonant. Okay, what should I do? Toby like this because Y is a consonant. So if I click enter, why is it giving me invalid? It must be 6 characters, starts with T and end with a consonant. What's the issue? Dot upper user word at index of, what's the issue? Ah gosh, what's this? So which word do you think would meet this requirement? So why is it giving this? So enter a word exactly 6 characters. Oh, it needs to be exactly 6 characters. So that's the requirement. Toby 412. Now it would work. Yeah, valid word Toby because it's exactly 6 characters, starts with T and ends with a consonant. The first one didn't work because it's not exactly 6 characters. So that's it. You can play around with it, make it more cool, and you know, play around with it, make it more cool and great, and do your thing. So, but this is just what we did for the question two. Something simple, but still, you crack your brain a little bit if you didn't watch my tutorial at first. You try solving it yourself. So you can say, but it's actually the easiest in the 3 questions. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Okay, so we are going to move into the third question. So I'll just copy the third question and so put it in our console and I'll go to PyCharm. I'll just delete this one. Paste it there and I'll delete the solution for a second question. Don't worry. Okay, let's get started. So the third question is, make sure you solve it yourself before we start and come back if you are having issues or finding errors or something like that. So the first one, the last question, it's actually short, but trust me, it's very confusing. So the next one is write a function that takes 2 string arguments. So the function should take 2 string arguments in the of equal length. So 2 string arguments, like that means we need to create a function that has 2 parameters so it can take in 2 string arguments. So that takes in 2 string argument of equal length. The function should return a new string consisting of every third character from both strings in alternating order. So the function should return a new string consisting of every third character. So this one is very, very crazy because it has to like get the third character from both strings and in alternating order. So it has to like reverse it. Reverse like in okay. If I start solving it, you guys will understand it. I don't know how I'm going to explain the alternating order. So alternating order, what's this S? I'll go back to my notepad. I don't know what that S is. Order dots s let's just ignore it. So if any selected character is lowercase, convert it to uppercase. The final output should be reversed before returning it. So if any selected character is lowercase, convert it to uppercase, and the final output should be reversed before returning. You see, just a short question, but trust me, I'm going to crack your head on this. So we are going to solve it. Make sure you solve it yourself. Just try solving it. Anything you can do, you can come across. So I'm going to help you guys solve it as well. So the first thing, we're going to create a function. Okay. So the first thing, we're going to create a function. I'll say definition. Sorry, I mean function. It would be, I'll say combine. I'll just call it combine every third or something like this. Yeah, combine every third will be the name of the function. Then I'll now say it takes in two arguments, right? So we need to give like a set of parameters to it. So I'll call this one word 1 and I'll call this one word 2 like this. Okay, so that's great. So the next thing we're going to be doing is then check for equal length. So let's check if it has equal length, because it's a write a function that takes two string arguments of equal length right here. So we're going to check for equal length using an if statement. Remember, when you're solving a Python question, make sure you break it down step by step and print as you go. The reason I'm not printing as I'm going is because I already know the solution for it, and again, I don't want the video to be too long, because if I do a small, how I write my code is, once I write a small part of it, I'll print to see what it's, where we are, what we are doing, what we have gotten to. But I don't want this video to be too long, trust me. So the next thing we're going to do is check for equal length, because the requirement said it should have equal length. So we'll now check for equal length. So for the equal length, we'll say if len of word 1 is not equals, I'll say not equals len of like word 2 like this. So if len of word 1 is not equals len of word 2 like this. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, so that's it. So if len of word 1 is not equals len of word 2, so we are going to print an error message. So print error, let's print something like error words must be the same like this. So this one we have met the first requirement, and then we're going to like return something. So what are we going to return? We're going to return an empty string, because it doesn't meet the requirements, so we'll return an empty string. So the first thing we're going to be doing is write a function that takes two string arguments. We have done that, of equal length. We have checked for the length. Now the function should return a new string consisting of every third character from both strings in alternating order. Okay, so now let's do work on that one. So we're going to collect every third character. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another extra two list right now, empty list, so we can like meet the requirement and put it into those empty lists like this. Hold on, let me explain. So the next thing we're going to do is like I'll call the first one list 1. So the list 1 is equals to an empty list for now, as we did in the first question. So for I in range, remember we're using a for loop, in range 2. So what it means is that it's going to start from index of 2, because it said it should return a string consisting of every third character. So index of 2, every third character from both strings in alternating order. So it's going to start from index of 2 going down. So let me show you what it means. Then next thing we're going to be doing is every third character in alternating order. Then the next thing we're going to do is the len of word. So it will go like it will start from index of 2. It will go throughout for the word, the length of the word. So let's use word 1 for now. So it will go throughout the length of the word 1, the first word, and it will skip 3 times. It will go three times, so it will get all the whole third characters. So yeah, so it will be like index of 2, index of 5, index of 8, and stuff like that. So and yeah, so that's the thing we're going to be doing. So starting from index of 2, it will move throughout the whole length of the word and go 3 times. It will skip 3 times. So this one is start, stop, and step. So start is 2, index of 2. It will stop at the length of the word 1, of the first word, and the step would be 3 times. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is then list 1 dot append. So we're going to append word 1. We're going to append word 1 to this empty list. So we're going to, since we are like, it's just like filtering. So we're going to, any word we filter, we'll put it into our empty list, because that's why our empty list is very, very useful. So list 1 dot append. I don't need this second curly braces. So the second parenthesis. So word 1 at index of I dot upper. So So it keeps it gets all the words. So this index of I said it in the first equation, is just replacing the word as index of what it starts from. Like now, don't worry, as we go, I'll explain more better. Then next thing, then we'll change it to uppercase because they say that any selected character that is lowercase should be converted to like uppercase. So yeah, so we'll change it to like dot upper. The next thing we're going to do, so that is it for the first list. So for the second list, I'll just go outside this one and I'll call it list 2, like this. List 2 is equals to an empty list, and for I in range, or let's use J, we have used I before. So for J in range, I'll now use the same thing. 2 starts to ends in the length of word 2, and the step should be 3 as well. Then we'll go in and then list 2 dot append. So we are going to add this thing. Append means add to the end. So we are going to add the word. So we're going to add word 2 at index of J dot upper, like this. So word 2 at index of J dot upper is what we're going to add to the word. So that's it. So the same thing we did for list 1. So we have saved list 1 into its own list after filtering the stuffs, and list 2 into its own list after filtering the stuffs. So the next thing we're going to be doing is now, since they said that we're going to combine it in alternating order. You understand what I mean when we start? Firstly, I'm going to say, still inside our function, I will now say combine test. Let me make it a little bit close. Yeah. Combined text, like this. Combined text is equals to an empty string. So we're going to combine it. So okay, this one would be like, it will be very confusing. So now, since both lists has the same length, we're going to use a for loop to combine the text, to combine the two lists. So that's what they mean by alternating order. Okay, so now we're going to use like another for loop. This time we're going to do like for k, like for k in range, for k in range len of list. Anyone you want to use, but I'll use list 1 like this. So for k in length of list 1, so you can use list 1 or list 2, because you know this at first we say that they have to have the same equal length. So it would be like this. So for k in range length of list 1, then what we're going to do is not like that. We're going to combine the text. So since the combined text is an empty string, we're going to give it some value. We're going to give it some value. So that's what like alternating means. So like alternating means like okay, so I just paused the video a little bit so I'll get the best definition of alternating that'll explain to you guys what alternating means before we move on. So the what we mean by alternating is, okay, like if you have like a list of words, let's say you have banana and apple. So what it does is it takes B in banana and puts in the word, then takes P from apple, puts in the word, N is what it means. So it's what we are trying to do. So now we have gotten the whole words that we need from list 1. We have put it in list 1, we have put it in list 2. Now we have a combined word. So now the combined word text is just like alternating. So alternating means like, you know, combine it in a special sequence or something. Then it's initially empty, and then if we use another for, this one we're using care in range length of list 1, what we're going to do is we're going to give some values to the combined text. So combined text is equals combined text plus list 1 at index of k. So now we're iterating through the list. So the first list 1 at index of k. So this one is going to be replacing all the elements in the list from index of 0, 1, 2 to how long the list is. So that's what combined text is. So we're now giving the combined text some values, and the combined text we're adding it, add the first element to the combined text, then we have add the list 1 to the combined text, and then we'll do another one. We're going to do combined text is equals combined text plus list, you know what's coming up, list 2 at index of k. Okay, so we have added all these things to combined text. And remember, in string, when you're adding some things to string, it's just adding to the string. It's not like doing 1 plus 1. Like if you do 1 plus 1 in a string with like a string 1 plus 1, it will be like 1 1. So all those things. So that's how we are adding it. So that's how we're going to be fetching our combined text. So finally, now our combined text has a value. You can just print it out so you see what is the value or something like that. So after doing it like that, we're going to have like, we're going to reverse it, because you see after the alternating order, we're going to say if any character is lowercase, okay, you have converted it to uppercase using this dot upper, and the final output should be reversed before returning. Okay, now we're going to reverse it before returning like this. I will now reverse it. We are going outside the for loop, and I'll call it like reversed text is equals combined text. So as we have finished giving a value to the combined text, our final alternating value, we're going to fetch it. We're going to fetch at index of -1. So what this means is that it's going to reverse. This thing just simply means it's going to reverse the output. So this is just basically how you can do a reverse using Python. You can check out my string videos. I explained it there. You know, strings and list, or for groups, I think. So lastly, after reversing the text that we got from combined text, because since combined text was an empty string, we gave it some values using the values we got from list 1 and list 2 that we gave into here. So it's like, you know, it's complicated, but if you think of it where we're getting somewhere. So lastly, we're going to return reversed text like this. So we're going to return it. So now let's test out our function. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just thinking of, let's ask, should we ask the user for an input, or should, okay, let me just give it an input. So I'll call a is equals like, let's say help me sir, like this. Then I'll now call b is equals pythonize like this. What else? Yeah, then I'll now say the final answer would be, I'll just call it final answer, or final result. Let me call it final result is equals, then I'll copy this thing, combine every third like this. This is our function that we created earlier. Then I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. So it will give 2 errors in this thing because it can't identify what is word 1 and word 2. So we are going to pass in the same set of arguments. You can see A, and then we'll pass in B. So you can also make it more descriptive. You can make it string 1 and string 2. So you pass it as parameters, since what they say, it should take in 2 string arguments of equal length. So the next thing I'm going to do is then we're going to print the final result like this. Print final result, and that's it. Okay, I hope this works. Let me see if I have any issue. I'm going to have an issue. Okay, let's run it first. Then if we have issue on the way, we'll start fixing on it, because this one is very, very confusing. Trust me. The next thing I'm going to do is I would run it shift F10. So you can see. Okay, it's actually confusing. So it goes ERTETL. Okay, and this one is crazy. So the output, it gave the correct output, because as you can see, it's like it's converted to uppercase. So we know that one is working because it converts the words uppercase and stores lowercase here. And then it reversed the order. Okay, I'm supposed to like give something in the question that how the output is supposed to be, but yeah, that's just the solution for it, to be honest. Then because it will be very hard for me to calculate it, or let just calculate it now. Okay, so since we are starting from the third character and we are moving with three steps, it would be like L. So we'll get L. L is the second character because it's like 0, 1, 2. So L. So let me just add a comment and keep it on one side. So we'll see if we got the correct output, like getting this error this time. Let's see if we got the correct output and meeting all the requirements before we call it a wrap on this final question in Python. So let me just add like a comment right here so we can work on it together. So it starts from L. So the first word is L. So it's converted to uppercase. So it skips 3 steps. It skips 1, 2, 3. So it goes to E. So let me say E, and it skips again. 1, 2, 3, and it goes to R. R like this. Then let's go to Pythonize. So this one is the first word. Let's go to the second word. The second word starts with 0, 1, 2. So it starts with C. It now skips 1, 2, 3. Starts with N, 1, 2, 3, and it's E like this. So, oh god, this is too confusing. So the next time we're going to give another hash, so we'll see if we got the correct result on it. So now we're going to make it like alternate. We're going to alternate it. So what it means is like we now do L from the first word in this first one we did in the first list, L, then we'll say T from the first word, then we'll do E from this one at index of 1, then we'll do N, then we'll do R, and we'll do E. So you see it. Then that's how we got this. Then we now reversed it. That's how we got the alternating order, picking one word exactly from each: L, T, E, N, R, and E. Then we now reverse it. So reversing it, then I'll give another hash right here, and it would be E, R, N, E, T, L. All right, so that's it. You can see that it gave the same result. So we got to we did the correct thing. So you can see it's giving the same result. So there is no, it's complex, but it's still quite understandable if you read it and you see, oh yeah, it's just like it's normal for loop, if statement, list, and reverse order, just something cool, but it's still complex. Okay, so that's what we. Okay, so that's a wrap in our final mini project. And congratulations if you went through all the things we are covering through. Big congrats to you guys. We achieved a lot in this series, and this we reached the end. And so I'm very happy and also grateful for sticking along with me, guys. And that's a wrap for it. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, your feedback helps me create better content for you all. And see you all in my next exciting video I'm cooking up, guys.